as soon as some drill rappers cover that, right, on SoundCloud or whatever, it's going to be amazing. It's only a matter of time. I'm Couch Coop, and we got a nice nostalgic one for you today. It's from 1990, same year as Snow Brothers, surprisingly, for the UK release. It is Speedball 2 from the Bitmap Brothers. I never played the first game. This is kind of a Street Fighter 2 situation where the first game was a nothing burger. The sequel came out, rocked the whole goddamn gaming world. I do go on record as this being one of the only sports games you have ever or will see me play. There's two, actually, and the other one will be coming up on the nostalgia list, so little hint there, it was a Sega Genesis exclusive for UK release. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. Let's look at some cover art, because this one is very special. The artist, Glenn Fabry, could be one of my favourite cover artists for that genre of game for that decade. He did a few and he worked with Bitmap Brothers for a while. His style is so distinctive, absolutely beautiful. This is probably one of my most nostalgic covers also. The motion in the image, the hand, and just tiny things in that cover just drew me as a kid straight to it. I had the Amiga version, but there were console releases and it did look slightly better over on the 16-bit machines, and you also had the pad. I had to use the Python one. Alright, the sound of all four of them suckers coming off a book because you've got too into it and your mum going, "That's it, turn it off, you've had enough." They are strangely pleasant memories. That brings me on to the soundtrack and Bitmap Brothers themselves. Now, I am going to do more Bitmap content, but I wanted to talk about their prowess in the industry at the time. They were releasing games that had like top 10 songs featuring in them. Bomb the Bass was involved. Some of that Xenon cover art was just amazing. It's so weird how the industry has changed since then. You would just never hear of a new release with a tune coming out with the launch of a video game. Let's talk about just what the hell this game actually is. And it's a bit like a five-a-side football, but you're in a contained arena. The ball never leaves pitch. This was one of the major selling points for me when I first played it, was I got used to sensible soccer because there was nothing else to play on that level. And when I saw this running, the fact that it just doesn't stop, there's replays, there's slowdowns, there's injuries, it's all metal, they dance and celebrate afterwards in a little window in the corner. It was mind-blowing for me. I was like, holy shit, this is RoboCop meets Gladiators. It was its deliberate encouragement for violence that really pulled everyone else in as well, I think. There was none of this, wasn't a foul. Your job was to deck the other player down and keep hold of the ball. It was like a timed tap on the tackle. Now that brings me on to its ridiculously tight metagame, involving each character being leveled up on stats with money that you earn on wins, and you had to go to a market. There would sometimes be players available, and all of them were named after popular British football players of the time. Gaz has even got a mention in this, so that was really cool to see its Britishness trickle through into the actual campaign structure. It was also my first experience with that sort of football manager model, and I know that's a huge area of gaming now, but it was the first time I'd ever clapped eyes on it or see it have an impact on pitch. With football manager games, you kind of sit back and watch the results. With this, if you powered up your forward, you would then be controlling a really well powered up forward. That reward circle never got boring for me because I always wanted to win, get more money, see who's on the market to put into my team to take to the next campaign match. It was a very, very solid single player experience. Ice cream. That brings me over to the couch co-op. Kind of the meta back-end material was locked. Understandably, you couldn't just march in with an all-star team against someone with nothing. But when it came to actual versus games, it was all about using what was on pitch. There's certain items that can make the ball knock another player down if they receive it. There's also points to be had on pitch that don't necessarily revolve around goals. So it's your job to pick up all these little things. There's even armor available. It was crazy. It worked so well in versus. There was hundreds of hours here because of the variables being found within the game itself, not necessarily about the stats of your team before you went out. There was also a callous method of going for a particular player, getting them injured and off pitch and them not being in the game. Furthermore, whenever a player grabbed the ball, their energy would appear at the bottom of the screen and you could really target someone and completely remove the other team's star player. So other than throwing the ball at the goal, you're running around trying to collect items, you're looking to power up your goal score, and then you're trying to get someone injured so they're taken permanently out of the game. It's so good. Remakes and sequels. There is an HD remake, which is one of the more intact versions of the game. They've put a slight twist on the way the ball's thrown, so the flow of it all becomes a bit strange. You used to be able to rely on players being exactly where they were supposed to be, and firing diagonally would mean that you're guaranteed a land on somebody. With this, it really disrupts things, but I do love its look, and it's great to have this given a nice modern lick of paint and not ruin too much of that precious base level meta game. This is a PlayStation 1 remake called Speedball 2100, and as you can see, a lot of that heritage has been lost. It's kind of a worse looking game. Don't quite know how they've managed that on a newer system. Get ready. There's actually quite a lot of Speedball misses out there in history where they have tried to recreate that original bit of magic, and as you can all tell, it's just never been recreated on such a mammoth level that they originally put out. My advice is to emulate the original on any PC. It will run on every potato on the market, and it's so worth looking at. You get it at 50 frames per second as well, which is epic. So I have been Couch Coop, and I will see you down there.